I love Idaho Falls because of all the great amenities that we have here. From our Idaho Falls Zoo to the 3 golf courses to our more than 47 parks, all of our pathways and trails make Idaho Falls a healthy community.
Well, I love Idaho Falls. I've been born and raised here. I love the area. I love the community. I love the people. I love the location. I love the river. I love a city that is based along a river and the water, the biking paths, the walking paths, and to be able to have that be a part of our community. I also think it's really exciting with the focus on the airport. It's been growing, getting new flights, and I look forward to the future of the airport and not having to travel further away and to be able to just have the opportunity to be able to fly in and out of our great town.
I love Idaho Falls because we have a close-knit, friendly community with a strong sense of belonging and neighborly support. We boast reasonable costs of living, great schools, and safe neighborhoods, making it an ideal place for families. This city has a rich cultural scene with museums, art galleries, theaters, and an event center.
I love Idaho Falls because of the rich history and heritage that we have of always looking to the future with our infrastructure. We have affordable power rates because we've harnessed the power of the river system that flows through our community. We also look to the future with the build out of our fiber optic network, and we continue to even look over the horizon by adding future generation resources to our community that can keep us powered up for the years to come.
I love Idaho Falls. My family has been a part of the business community for over 3 generations. Teton Auto Group is celebrating 20 years of being a thriving and growing business in Eastern Idaho. We exist because of the unique, value-based community amongst entrepreneurs in the area. Teton Auto Group loves being a part of Idaho Falls because we don't just support each other's businesses, we support each other's families and the community as a whole. So doing business locally allows us to directly impact and contribute to the community we all love.
I love Idaho Falls because this place has been a place of innovation from the very beginning. When you look all the way back to the middle of the 1800s, there were people who were making something of relatively nothing. There was dust, there was sagebrush, and people saw what could be. They dug canals, they created meaningful and purposeful growth, and I'm so grateful to be a part of a city where that good governance continues. We can see that not only is the place physically growing, but it's growing culturally as well.
Greetings, everyone, to the honored members of the City Council. I saw Councillor Larson, Councillor Francis, and Councillor Radford who are here with us today. I also want to recognize city directors and employees who are here with us. Want to recognize our gracious hosts, the Greater, do I have any sound? Can you hear me? Okay. The Greater Idaho Falls Association of Realtors. Thank you for providing such a lovely venue and hosting us today. And then to everyone else, the esteemed citizens of Idaho Falls, I say to all of you, welcome and good afternoon. Many of you may already know the 2 purposes of this event. First, it provides that ideal setting for the annual State of the City address. And while there are many professional groups out there that care about the overall success of our community, I would say that none is more invested in this community's success than our realtors are. And I appreciate your personal and professional support of our city. It's apparent, it's manifest. There are many of you I know because of your involvement. And I recognize that when the council members and I do our jobs right, it makes your job a little easier. And so we appreciate that support. The second purpose of our event is to support the Mayor Scholarship Fund. And a video for that was rolling during lunch. But we created that scholarship in November of 2005, and our first awards ceremony was held in the spring of 2006. We have been supporting local students with local dollars ever since then. And this year, when we host our event in early April, I believe, that will be our 20th event. And it feels good that we have built something rather lasting. Now, if you want to feel good, I say it feels good, but if you want to feel good, go to a scholarship event. If you want to feel great, go to a mayor's scholarship event. And if you want to feel like you're great, and that the rising generation is great, and the world is great, and that the sun will come up tomorrow, donate to the Mayor's Scholarship Fund. And go to the event. And we'll give you dessert. But before we begin some of the substantive remarks I want to give today, I also want to offer my gratitude on top of Ms. Bjorn's for all of the sponsors who provided not only this great meal, but also just thank you for paying top dollar to support the Mayor's Scholarship Fund. I'll get emotional if I go into detail, but we help kids who necessarily don't have another path. And it's a great program. Also, I wanted to tell you that several city department directors and a couple council members are either involved in a project, one is traveling, one is ill, and so many couldn't be here for the entire program today. But every city department is represented here today, either by a director or an assistant director or a deputy director or something along those lines. And we have seated city representatives and council members who are here throughout the room, at tables throughout the room. And so that means that every table has a city person, I hope. And so that's your own resident city expert. And you're welcome to whisper, what does she mean by that? Or afterward, you can pepper them with questions. And they're not allowed to say, I don't know. They can say, I'll look into it, or I'll get back to you. So anyway, I also want to offer a personal thank you, as has already been done, to our city communications team, Eric Grossarth and Kimberly Thelker, as well as to my chief of staff, Margaret Wimborne, and to the city's economic development administrator, Catherine Smith. We also benefited from the talents of Colton from IE Productions for creating that video, and of course all of the other visuals that we have today and all the behind the scenes coordination. So thank you. I know I've been a pain in the neck to my staff, but on a personal note, I'm entering into my, wasn't expecting this, into my 12th year, and it's my final year of service as mayor. And this will be my last formal State of the City address in this setting. And as you might imagine, preparing for these remarks has made me a little bit reflective, or at least it made me a little reflective. And so one of the things that I ask myself is what we've been asking in the video as well. Why do I love Idaho Falls? Why did I do this? It's a very relevant question. It's a fair question. It's relevant. And the answer is, I'll tell you that the reasons are too numerous to count. But I will tell you this. One of my love languages is action, acts of service. And like many of you, I show my love for Idaho Falls by giving my time to this community. Something interesting about service is that the inverse is also true. You can show love through service, a love language, but the inverse is true. If you want to love something, serve it. I commend this amazing, inside out double, what do you call it, coat that's reversible, right, when you can wear it both sides. I commend this truism to you, and I encourage you to test it out. And I don't think you can prove me wrong, so I'm going to repeat it. If you love something, you will serve it. And if you serve something, you will come to love it. Cool stuff. With this in mind, you can believe me then when I say that I love and have come to love an awful lot in Idaho Falls over the years. When I ran for mayor in 2013, I had a 3-word slogan: solve, grow, enhance. As a candidate, I committed to solving city problems, growing our economy, and enhancing our community. So clever, right? Little did I know then, but those 3 verbs, solve, grow, enhance, actually describe what a mayor does. However, if I were running today with that same slogan, I might throw in one more verb, and that would be teach. I found that many people do not know very much about what a city does. Think about it. Unless you were a political science major and you chose to take the city government elective for the major, you have never had a class on city government. Maybe if you had a really progressive textbook in social studies that had a few lines, but it wouldn't have been a chapter. We don't learn about city government in school. And I found that teaching about the city has been a lot of what I've done, and I found it to be rewarding after I realized this keeps happening. I keep explaining the same things. Teaching about the city is rewarding because awareness, and that creating that awareness in others, is rewarding because awareness forms the basis of citizenship. You can't be an uninformed citizen. If you're uninformed, you're not a good citizen, right? And so I have watched over the years many city residents become aware and begin to claim the rights and the privileges of their citizenship in Idaho Falls. And that's probably the first thing that I love about Idaho Falls. We have truly great citizens. So I'll ask, what do you love about Idaho Falls? And while you think about that, I'm going to review some of the city government highlights from this past year and share some of what we plan for the coming year. And keep thinking, I'm going to take a drink. All right. So we'll start with transportation. GIFT, G-I-F-T, Greater Idaho Falls Transit. This GIFT has proven to be one of the best initiatives we have ever launched. Since its inception, GIFT has provided 234,000 rides, including 91,000 in 2024 alone. Over 40,000 of those rides directly benefited seniors, and more than 3,000 served U.S. veterans. The average wait time for the on-demand rides has hit a record low of 16 minutes. So that's a cold call. You just call and you ask for a ride. We've hit that low of 16-minute wait. But you also have the option of scheduling it. And if you schedule, then it should be on time for whatever you scheduled it for. The service, scheduled rides boast an impressive 98% on-time rate. And the service continues to grow steadily. GIFT's customer satisfaction speaks volumes. They have a 4.8-star average rating from over 50,000 reviews. That's a lot of love for GIFT. This success has attracted key community sponsorships, but they still need more. But the sponsorships help to keep costs down. Right now, the average price for a ride is $4. That can be spendy if you need to do it every day. So, especially if you're riding to and from. So that $8 a day, $40 a week, that may not seem like much. I know people who pay more than that for a half day of parking in some places. But if you are on a fixed income, $4, it would be nice to not have that have to go up. Anyway, we achieve all of this with a fleet of just 8 vehicles, though the fleet will expand as the service grows. In 2024, GIFT earned multiple grants and awards, including a safety grant that funded safe holiday rides and that supported first responders, right? There were fewer drivers on the road who shouldn't have been on the road. But the crowning achievement of this year of last year, was GIFT's induction into the Idaho Transportation Department's Hall of Fame for innovation in public transit. And so I'm going to ask, kind of tongue-in-cheek, raise your hand if you knew that ITD even had a Hall of Fame. What state government, the department has a Hall of Fame? But even more exciting, GIFT's model is now being replicated in other Idaho cities, and that kind of solidifies Idaho Falls' ability to influence the future of transportation in our state. So moving on to the airport. In 2024, we made exciting progress at IDA. Now, the official name is Idaho Falls Regional Airport, but IDA is that 3-letter, sign that they use for identifying our unique sign that they use for identifying our airport. So I just call it IDA all the time. I apologize if that confuses anyone, but now you know. Anyway, some of you are going to love this part. Alaska Airlines added a year-round flight to Seattle in 2024, and United did the same for a Denver route. So we already had existing routes, but they added additional flights. Larger planes now serve some of Delta's Salt Lake City routes. And so now you might be able to fit something in the overhead baggage compartment. Allegiant will begin offering year-round service to Portland this year. And Allegiant is also going to launch twice-weekly flights to Denver. So if you like the Allegiant model and those rates, you have a few more options here. But all of this growth comes with some challenges. Our airport is overdue for some very significant upgrades. Behind the scenes, staff work in cramped spaces that are ill-suited for the volume of luggage that they have to process. The lobby needs to be enlarged to accommodate more ticket counters and office space. There are some places where if you stand in line, you are on the sensor that opens the door. And in the winter, the doors open a lot, and so, that's hard. There are some significant but hidden structural elements like ductwork and support beams that have to be addressed as we do this next phase of expansion. We can't just quickly slap up some more, wall space or whatever. We've got to actually do some of the real guts work of this. And so those kinds of projects are rather expensive and they're not very flashy, but they're critical to supporting future growth. This is going to be the most extensive terminal project in our history, and it has a roughly $65 million price tag. Now that left the council members and I momentarily breathless when we first heard the number. But we're making some incredible strides in funding. In 2024, our airport director, Ian Turner, who started 1 year ago this month, he shattered records by obtaining, throughout the year of 2024, obtaining $21.4 million federal dollars for this project. And that's his first year on the job. Can't wait to see what his second year's like. But that's more than double the amount of federal money that we brought into the airport in any other year. The next closest year was 11 point something in 2020. So there's a lot still to be done. The 21 millions that he's raised is nowhere near the 65 that we need, but we're on the track. I think that we're going to go ahead and start the not very sexy infrastructure upgrades this spring. So you will see some construction going on. Just don't expect anything flashy out of it. Anyway, let's move on to Pancarry Bridge. A quarter of our population, it's said, uses Pancarry Bridge and lives on the west side there. So many of you were probably impacted. The Pancarry Bridge received some much needed maintenance and upgrades in 2024. We were able to fund that with a state of Idaho grant for $2.8 million. Work included the replacement of several girders and rehabilitation of the bridge's driving surface. The sidewalk widening improvements on both on the north side of the structure are going to be attended to this spring, summer. So, but when it's done, those sidewalks will not be narrow and scary. I remember once getting on there because I had a baby in back and I was driving on it and thinking, I'm going to go off the road. I went off the sidewalk. It was rather narrow, but the next time I try that, hopefully I won't have a baby in back, but on my bike, it will be wide enough to take away all the nervousness. Anyway, all this work will ensure that this vital crossing over the Snake River can accommodate pedestrian and vehicle traffic well into the future. So what's not to love about a safer bridge that now has an extended life, right? We dedicated the Meppen Canal Trail System this past summer. That provides over 2 miles of multi-use pathway between the Idaho Canal Pathway all the way to 25th East near the College of Eastern Idaho. This $1 million grant-funded project provides improved bicycle and pedestrian connectivity, particularly for those in the northeast part of the city. I can move on to infrastructure, city infrastructure. The water tower. Nobody's ever heard of the water tower project, I'm sure. But in 2025, we will complete construction of the new water tower and put it into use. Coinciding with that will be the respectful demolition and thoughtful commemoration of the existing tower. One of the community events that we've organized to commemorate the water tower will take place in February at the Art Museum of Idaho, of Eastern Idaho, sorry, TAM, with a water tower tribute art exhibit. So stop by. They're going to have an open house on February 6th at 5:30 p.m. And you will see how Idaho Falls water towers, plural, past and present, have been captured in art and photography over the past 150 years. This public open house is open to anyone, and we'll have several other water tower commemorative events coming later in the year. So plan, if that's something you love, and we heard that a lot of people loved the existing tower, plan to show your love for that tower several times over this coming year. Idaho Falls Fiber. The city's community-owned fiber network reached a major milestone in 2024 with the completion of its citywide build-out. We are no longer constructing the infrastructure needed for fiber. What started as a pilot project, and which was announced in October of 2019, it has, in under 5 years, covered the entire city, making it the largest open access network in Idaho. So if you want Idaho Falls fiber service, you just have to make a phone call and get scheduled to get connected. Nobody has to build anything to bring it to you because we built it already. We had 120 contractors at our height of construction helping us with that. That's more people than we have working for all of Idaho Falls Power. We had 12,000 yards that we dug up to do this. And you know how many complaint phone calls I got? 0. Except for councilors Freeman and Zeal Dingman, I think, were the ones who something went crazy in their yards, and I heard a little mumbling from council members. We just had a smooth process there. Anyway, I love having Idaho Falls fiber at my house. Power and energy development. In 2024, Idaho Falls Power secured $3 million in grant funding from DOE, the Department of Energy, to expand EV infrastructure in Idaho Falls. This spring, we're going to construct 16 DC fast charging stations. That's nice if you're in a hurry. And 8 level 2, those are the regular stations. And we're going to do that at 4 key locations throughout the city. This project is going to cut greenhouse gas emissions, or at least help with that, enhance charging reliability, and support the region's growing tourism industry. Increasingly, people who buy hybrids and electric vehicles will get online and try to figure out where can they stop. And we're going to have even more stops to offer them. So that's something that EV drivers love about Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls Power is also investing $44 million in the peaking plant and research park that we're building out on property that the city owns on Iona Road. The research park, or excuse me, the peaking plant is a power generation facility that will deliver 17.5 megawatts of on-demand energy during peak usage times. It saves us from having to go out on the open market and buy energy when we're peaking, everybody else is, and the price is peaking. Now we're going to be able to produce our own peaking energy, and it saves us from having to pay top dollar anymore. It'll pay for itself in a very short amount of time. The facility will be wholly owned by Idaho Falls Power customers and ratepayers. Public power is what that's called. We own it. I love public power because we don't have to pay dividends to shareholders. We just we charge a low rate and we reinvest in making sure that it's safe, and it's a great model. Construction began this past August, and the plant is expected to be in operation before the end of this year. The facility will support clean energy innovation, and that includes hydrogen applications. So we're excited about that part. Idaho Falls Power is advancing a partnership with Open Mountain Energy to develop a geothermal project. That's going to take a few years, and so you'll hear more in the future. And finally, IFP is negotiating an agreement with Allo. I get it mixed up because other people mix me up here. With Allo Atomics, they're a leader in the modular reactor technology, and they're hoping to lease land at that energy research park we're developing for up to 80 years. An 80-year lease is kind of a nice thing to have. Idaho Falls Power would have the option to purchase low-cost energy from their project, though that isn't expected to be operational until after 2030. There are a lot of bridges to cross before we get to there, so more to come. Moving on to public safety. The police department had some milestones this year. As many of you know, they moved into their new building on Northgate Mile this past year. This is the first standalone police facility in the 160-year history of the city. Not only did the project come in on time and under budget, you gotta love that, it's also an award-winning building. The IFPD received the Bronze Medal from Police One for the design of the building. In 2024, the IFPD created and implemented several community-oriented policing initiatives. This is where you have officers who are investing themselves in the community and getting to know the people that they serve and protect. One was a critical outreach program, critical outreach programs in education, COPE. The COPE team pairs a crisis intervention team detective. That's a detective who's been received some advanced training in mental health awareness, and with a social worker. And our detectives who's working on this and the social worker, they respond to calls from citizens who are in crisis. They also provide opioid research and, outreach and homelessness mitigation. So they're the softer, sensitive side when that's needed. But it's great that we can deploy highly trained individuals to those calls. We have a victim advocate program that we added. It's grant funded, and we also have a neighborhood police officer program, which puts police officers in small geographic areas of the city. We'd like to place more of those. It does take funding and more officers to be able to do that. We're constantly looking for the grant money to make that happen. And I'm going to stop on the police department there, but I will tell you that I love that I had to cut 2 pages of initiatives and news to share with you about the police department. I'll move on to the fire department. In 2024, 2 of our 6 stations received backup generators to further prepare themselves to respond in emergencies. The department also replaced 1 fire engine and 2 ambulances. At station number 1, they hosted yet another record-breaking hot dog dinner event for the public when they were celebrating and highlighting the Fire Prevention Month. And I love grilling hot dogs at the event and helping to serve those alongside the firefighters. It's fun. You should come if you haven't, and bring your kids because there's stuff for them to learn. But one of the coolest and most moving moments in 2024 was dedicating the 9/11 Memorial at Fire Station Number 1. Thank you goes to Qualtech and the Heroes Defense Fund for being so generous, because it's their donation and their generosity that made the memorial possible, and it happened in short order, very quickly. And I love the feeling of reflection when you go there and you see this beautiful sort of wall of water. And so if you haven't gone, I invite you to visit that memorial and plan to sit and just absorb that moment. In the coming year, the IFFD expects to break ground on a new station that'll be called Station Number 6, and it'll be located just off of 15th East. I think the street that's just off of that it's called Spitfire, fire station on Spitfire Road. But anyway, the fire department will also continue to pursue development of some key training projects, so look forward to hearing more about that in the future. All right, Parks and Recreation. Parks and Rec is always one of the city's busiest departments. They really the sun never goes down on the Parks and Rec department. This year was no exception. Progress was made on several fronts. They rebuilt the Toffitz Park tennis courts from the dirt on up. They purchased pickleball courts for off-season use in the ice arena. They replaced the hardwood gymnasium floor in the rec center. They placed sod and broke ground on restrooms at Heritage Park. They built and opened the ADA restroom at the all-access playground in Toffitz Park. They removed the old playground on South Capitol Park, and they relocated it to I think what everybody tends to agree is a nicer location within the park. And the same kinds of things will continue happening in 2025. Traffic flow in Toffitz Park will be improved. The Funland log hut will be open to the public, offering a side of nostalgia with your burgers and fries. Additional canal trails will be built, and the Toffitz Park perimeter pathway will be opened. The zoo's Hamilton building, which used to be a county facility that the city bought, they've been remodeling that for a few years, little by little, slowly, because they've been doing it in-house with just talent from the zoo personnel in their spare time. So it's taken a while for this to happen, but when it opens and you hear about it, take the kids or the grandkids. They're going to love it. It feels like a Disney theme experience there, so definitely enjoy that. Parks and Rec is also collaborating with the Public Works Department to develop more sustainable irrigation and landscaping practices in the public right-of-way. This ongoing effort to conserve water and landscapers' labor is something that will never make the headlines. But these quiet sustainability, not very interesting to most people, but thrilling to me. But these sustainability projects will bear fruit forever. And I'm really proud of this kind of collaborative work that has occurred between Public Works and Parks and Rec. They've done things to conserve water at the zoo, at various parks, and at our golf courses over the past 6 years. And I love it when we're smart about how we use our natural resources in the city. Parks and Rec also has community events. The rodeo was awarded in 2024 the best medium-sized rodeo in Idaho. Okay, that might sound like a funny little title, but we want it, and we've done it for a few years now. Parks and Rec staff decorated downtown for the holiday season, and they're so excited about it, they don't ever want to take it down. So every night I think, okay, it's mid-January. Do we turn the lights off yet? Maybe they'll do it by Valentine's is what I'm thinking, but we'll see. Anyway, they also put a lot of effort into trying to enhance the downtown tree lighting ceremony. This year's was the best ever, in my opinion, not just because of the lights, but because some other talent was on display there, and we had a winter market, which was sort of the Christmas version of the farmer's market. So next year, definitely, when you find out when it's happening, which is usually right around Thanksgiving time, go, because you'll love it. And then also, the second annual UTV Light Parade was a raging success again this year. We had many more participants, and it emerged as one of the largest UTV light parades in the country. And I'm thinking, how many UTV light parades are there in the country? Apparently there are a lot of them, but who knew that many Eastern Idahoans loved to bedeck their UTVs? But it's a thing. And so thank you for those who participated or those who came out to watch. All right, quality of life. Just a couple more things to share. The Idaho Falls Library, the public library, celebrated the 10th anniversary in 2024 of the very popular Extreme Book Nerd programs. They have them for both the youth and the adults. And I love this little fact, and that is that even in this electronic age, usage of our library continues to increase. Every year I read this and I'm thinking, how? But we had a 12.6% increase in circulation of library materials in 2024. Kind of cool. In 2025, the library is going to open a drive-through pickup for library materials, making it even easier for parents to swing by on the way to or from work. So if you've got a bunch of kids in the car and you don't want to get them all out and into the library because you'll never get them back into the car to go home, you can just go through the drive-through, get your big bag of kid books, and keep driving. We also have really started to put a lot of effort into ADA accessibility. It's not just the ADA accessible bathrooms at the all-access playground. We also have been working on our historic City Hall. It's a 96-year-old building. It's getting a facelift in the form of an elevator. It's making the building fully wheelchair accessible for the first time in its history. I'm going to be so grateful not to see people who struggle with stairs. They're not going to have to struggle anymore. And 60-something-old me is not going to have to help 70-something-old somebody who can't do stairs very well to get into the building. These are really important projects when it comes to human dignity. We expect that elevator project to be completed soon, as in February or March, soon. Another significant upgrade that has ADA elements to it is upgrading the Frontier Center. That will begin later this year. The Frontier Center is named after generous donations from the Frontier Credit Union, and some of you may know it by its former name, the Civic Center, right? So the Frontier Center will receive some upgrades, and that will add ADA accessible restrooms on the main floor. So if you've ever tried to get grandma downstairs, that indignity will no longer be a thing. And we're also going to enlarge the front lobby to create more space for gathering and to get people out of the weather. So, and then, as many of you know, the Idaho Falls City Council meetings that we hold are live streamed. They're recorded and they're archived, so you can pull up any meeting that's been held for, well, more than the past decade. But this element of accessibility and transparency has been a convenience to many people over the years. But as of last week, we added another element, another layer, and that is we now have closed captioning in both English and Spanish that is available. You can toggle it to whichever language you need. And the captions are AI generated, so as you can imagine, the technology isn't yet 100% perfect. But I love that we'll be able to improve service to those who need just a little extra help, following what's going on in the meeting. Or when the mics go bad, we'll be able to keep better track of what's happening. So there's still a lot there. So I want to talk to you about something that we are rolling out as of today, which is Idaho Falls Strategic Plan. At some point, every leader asks, how do we ensure systematic improvements for our city, like the ones that I've highlighted today? The answer, of course, is that you need to have a plan, and the plan guides your efforts. And everyone loves a good plan, right? Over the years, Idaho Falls has had many, many different plans. Master plans, comprehensive plans, they have all kinds of names. But we've never created one designed for public review. And it took time to find and adapt a model that felt right, but we're ready. We found one. And one of the more exciting things that I'm going to share today is the city's strategic plan, and it goes live on the website today. So this is the visual. The plan that we're using is neatly summarized in this layered triangle. Now, as some of you look at this graphic, you're going to notice some familiar elements. Some of you might think that it resembles Maslow's hierarchy of needs triangle, while others of you might see the colors of the rainbow and wonder if the city is signaling a bold new social agenda today. Let me respectfully clarify. Mr. Maslow, I love his theory, his hierarchy of needs, but he doesn't have exclusive rights to layered isosceles triangles. And the colors of the spectrum belong to everyone. So we are using the colors to serve as visual clues to distinguish the information within each layer. And the triangle illustrates progression, like building a pyramid from foundational elements to all the way to aspirations and to vision. This framework is designed to, and I've got to transition to the internet here, but the framework is designed to help us systematically improve. Is it going? It's not going. Okay, there we go. Idaho Falls, and I want to walk you through it because it's an interactive model. So let me first enlarge it here, and I would encourage you to do this when you're working on it at home. So you see the layers, and this interactive version is kind of fun to play with. So you can actually click anywhere. You don't have to just click where it says to expand, but I'm going to do that. And you see that it expands, and there's a lot more information now available. And like most plans, there is that vision and that mission, and I'm not going to read it to you today because you can do that on your own. But we have that. Then we start having a little more nuance when we get to some of these other layers. I do like the values that we have. Sorry. This says embrace data. We're a data-driven organization. One city, one team. People matter. Accountable public service. Assume positive intent. These are the values that we like to bring to work with us. If you click on, oh, there we go. When it starts to wiggle, you can click on it. I will just say that the values that we've listed, they can and they do provide some important insight into how city leaders want city employees to approach the work that we're doing. And so I've just clicked on the one, people matter. And then you get a definition. What do we mean when we say our value is that people matter? Well, it says whether it is the citizen or the employee, the rules, processes, and practices of the city will recognize the individual worth of each person in the system and treat each with respect. Even as we place a high value on data, which is another value, our city government and the Idaho Falls community are human organizations, and the effects of policies and action are important factors in our decision making. Right? So that just provides some insight into the way we're going to approach our work. So I'm going to go back to that, expand it. Let me go to strategic opportunities. So with strategic opportunities section, it highlights all 11 city departments. So our attorney, the airport, what we call CDS, community development, fire, library, human resources, and so on. I skipped the yellow layer. I'll go back to that in a minute. But eventually, as you hover over these department names, you will be able to click. They're not live today because some of them are still in process, but you'll be able to get that department's strategic plan. It'll link you right to that. But the incredible breadth of professional talent within our city workforce is something I want to mention just for a moment. It's the collective expertise of all the people in the workforce that allows us not only to meet our citizen needs today, but to also anticipate them, sometimes years ahead, as we do with roadway planning, or even decades ahead, as we do to ensure the availability of clean drinking water and enough of it, and sewer infrastructure. We do those things far into that kind of planning far into the future. Now, it's easy to overlook the importance of professionalism in the ranks of city employees. Yeah. It's trained as a firefighter, trained as a police officer, trained as a, something technician. But professionalism in city ranks has not always been valued. Over a century ago, jobs in cities were awarded through nepotism or favoritism, some kind of an award, system to pay off political favors. But thankfully, the progressive era reforms that we saw over 100 years ago changed that. Today, public employees are nearly always trained, credentialed, and highly educated professionals. I strive in Idaho Falls to hire the best of those. We have many employees in Idaho Falls who are considered experts in their fields. The city workforce comprises a wide array of professions. We employ scientists in wastewater management and a variety of engineers, civil, mechanical, electrical, to name a few. We have water resource specialists. Our building inspectors ensure safety in plumbing, structural engineering, electrical work, fire suppression, and mechanical systems. Plan reviewers safeguard the integrity of new buildings. From code enforcement officers to librarians skilled in child development, from detectives specializing in digital forensics or mental health, or to mechanics, arborists, and botanists. We employ professionals for every aspect of city life. Our employees clear ice from the runways with FAA precision. They restore power turbines several feet below the river. Not below the surface of the river, but below the river. So sometimes they're 100 or more feet underground. Our employees monitor the Columbia River Treaty to protect Idaho Falls interests in this treaty between Canada and the U.S. We dig graves. We fix potholes. We really do. We remove leaves in the fall and snow in the winter. GIS experts map every pipe and wire and a light pole and electrical pole in the city. Cybersecurity specialists performing to federal standards because we have federal integration with our power and with our airport. They protect our digital infrastructure. Public information officers promote awareness. Flood control specialists safeguard against natural disasters. And that's just a small glimpse of what city employees do. Do you want to be impressed? Come and work alongside these exceptional people. Do you want to feel humbled? Step into my office and try to add value to what they do. Well, how can I improve upon that many professions? Humbling. They do extraordinary work every day. And if it's not clear to you, I love our city employees. So proud of them. I know that many times you have an experience and you're impatient with them, but I know the other side, and I love them. Sorry. I want to move on to then maybe what's this layer, the enabling capacities. Some really cool words here. The right technology, safe workspaces, visionary leadership, transparency, innovation, cost sensitivity. This is the foundational level of our city plan. And it's especially meaningful because it represents the thoughtful identification of conditions that need to be in place for all city departments to operate at their best level. Let's just take innovation. As you click on that, you'll see a description of what we mean by innovation. I encourage you to go home and maybe spend some time with this base layer and see what you think about this one. I think that you're going to find that these enabling capacities make a lot of sense from a management perspective. And council members and I are very committed to making sure that these conditions for these kinds of, that they exist. And we have to also be committed to updating and making sure that we roll with the times. There may be a time when we need to modify one of those, but we're going to stay with that. One thing you're not going to find in our strategic plan is deference to political ideology. It's not there. It never will be there, because we're about getting the job done, not about debating, what color of party you want to belong to. We embrace data. We serve people. Facts and relevant professional expertise that's our currency, not politics. And so you will not see politics in that base layer, hopefully, or anywhere else. So let me just quickly, because I know I don't want to be here all afternoon with you, even though I could, but go to the aspirations section. So under aspirations, we have, 7 of them. Healthy community, economic vibrancy, mentorships, relationships and partnerships, good governance. There's some really good terms here. Well, when you, let's see, go to them, open up. There we go. You'll see, again, the definition of what it is, but in this case, you'll be able to view details. So what do we mean by, what are the details? Okay, come on, Rebecca. Okay, I went to a different one. Resource stewardship. It's a short one. There we go. It opens up to a bulleted list of those actions that the council members would like to see taken to, or that we aspire to. And some of these are then later interpreted by departments into actions or policies that may be needed to make these aspirations real. I will just say that I want to share 2 quick notes with you. One is that the details listed in the aspirations section come from council priorities, but they also come from other planning efforts. Efforts that the city has undertaken over the past decade. Former strategic plans, we used to do priority-based budgeting, and we have some things from there, and other plans that we've had. But second, the online plan is intended to be a living document. You're going to find typos, awkward phrasing. Those will be edited over time. Council members will be addressing these on a fairly regular basis, and they'll be edited. But some items might disappear if they're become obsolete. New goals might emerge. Lists might get longer. Who knows? But it's going to be a living document. So stay tuned to pay attention if you care about these things. All right, so I'm going to maybe slowly move myself back here. I forgot what I needed to do. I think I hit escape. Nope. Oh, heaven help me. I forgot what I needed to do, Kimberly. Maybe we're going to get there. There we go. All right, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So what does all this planning and strategic and systematic effort get us? Well, the answer is it gets us noticed and it gets us loved. Starting in the latter half, and this is a little quick story here, but in the latter half of 2019, my office noticed an uptick in interest from outside developers who were coming to Idaho Falls, and they wanted to talk. They wanted to meet with the mayor. And I was taking more and more meetings in late 2019. One investor told us that he had metrics that indicated that Idaho Falls was, and the area was ascending in terms of its desirability for companies like his to relocate. I said, well, what are your metrics? Oh, that's proprietary. You couldn't tell me. But that was exciting, and it was kind of flattering. Hey, there's all this cool interest in Idaho Falls. But it wasn't very concrete, since I didn't really know exactly what was driving that interest. I didn't know what we should do more of, or less of it. And so it was a little bit mysterious. Sorry, I wanted to do a little, I should have clicked right then, but anyway. So enter the Milken Institute. Right after this uptick in interest began to manifest itself, this was about the same time that Idaho Falls broke into the top 10 in the Milken Institute's Best Performing Small Cities Index. You see that prior to 2020, we were 64th, 69th, 64th, 24th. 2019, I know we weren't in the top 10, but the study is not available online. But starting then in 2020, we broke into that top 10. This was exciting, and it was kind of fun. What's milking? We didn't know. But we were, as you can see from this, number 1 in 2021, 23, and 24. I'm not sure if it's listed. I think that's what's listed on the program. But in 22, we dropped out of number 1 and went to 5th. And we just got the results yesterday. We have moved to 3rd place for this year. And I will say that the number 1 slot this year went to Gainesville, Georgia. That's a city that has been in the top 10 way longer than Idaho Falls, which is, and they've never been number 1. They've always been hovering in the top 10, but they finally had their day. So why do we care about a ranking? There are a lot of, as my dad would say, there are a lot of 2-bit rankings out there, and anyone could make a list to sell a magazine. But the Milken research is highly substantive, and it's based on solid measurable indicators like labor market performance, GDP, high-tech industries, households with broadband, affordable housing, income equality or inequality, community resilience, which I don't know what that means. I think it's a proprietary measure, but they look at inclusivity. They look at things that matter to them. But what matters to them? Well, their research is premised on the assumption that cities are the economic engines for this country. And that's something I wholeheartedly believe, and I wish more state legislators appreciated that. And I'll just share with you language from yesterday's report. Or maybe I won't. Anyway, it's online if you want to get to it, and I think we've got a link to it from the city's page. But our ranking, I think we fell because between 2022 and 2023, we fell in one of the categories all the way to 158th. And that category was wage growth. Wage growth slowed in Idaho Falls significantly in that time frame. And that really, dragged down our total. Well, I'll tell you that there's nothing a mayor, no matter how motivated, or a city council, or talented city employees can do to directly impact wages. Why then, what's the relationship here? Well, what we can do is we can ensure that Idaho Falls is attractive. And I'm not just saying, oh, the lawns are mowed, flowers are planted, but other attractive qualities like offering affordable broadband or lots of parks, wayfinding, excellent public events, transparent governmental processes, and so forth. We can also work to ensure that government services are reliable and that we offer excellent rates and value for city utilities. We can also, I'm sorry, losing my place here, develop a reputation for prudent management of public funds. And given that our tax levy rates have gone down during my years in office, I can easily defend the argument that the city's performance has been good in that area, and we've been a good partner and an attractive option for business. So when it's all said and done, however, the only ranking that really matters is not this one. It's yours. It's how much do you love your city? It's said that most people vote with their feet. Well, so far, Idaho Falls has grown steadily since I took office, but it's grown steadily since it was born. So I can't take credit for that. But even during COVID, we grew. In addition, Idaho Falls has an excellent rate of participation when it comes to citizen initiatives. We've had many of them. We have over 20 boards, committees, and commissions that members of the public can join. If you're interested, there is an application on the mayor's page on the city website. We have Casper committees that have been they were prodigious in terms of producing an amazing report. The CUSP process, it's an acronym that we coined, some citizens coined it, connecting us, sustaining progress. That report is robust, and we're still drawing from it today. And we did it in partnership with INL. And the idea was we want to make Idaho Falls a city of choice to help them attract the kind of caliber of employees they need, the caliber of employees everyone needs. When I first took office, we had citizen review committees, one for each department. Over the course of 3 years, we had citizens come in and focus on a department and say, what is your purpose? How much money do you get? How do you spend your money? How many employees? Why? How come you're doing it that way? What kind of equipment do you have? Why do you only keep the equipment for 7 years? all the questions they wanted to ask, they asked. And those reports definitely helped to, shape us up then. Well, we have one more initiative, and that's the bottom right, a community survey. And I'm really proud to announce something else. Not only do we go live with our layered triangle colorful plan, but we also have the City of Idaho Falls Community Survey coming out. In the coming weeks, we're going to see this professional survey be administered to a random sampling of Idaho Falls population to gauge our performance on citizen preferences. It also includes a component that allows all citizens to take part and share their input. The effort is being conducted in conjunction with NCS, which is the National Community Survey, company or corporation or whatever. What do I want to say? That will allow us, by being a part of their program, to compare our results against hundreds of other cities throughout the country. Finally, this year's data is going to help us to establish a benchmark against which future years can be measured. And the survey is intended, therefore, to be administered every year. And that's something I hope future mayors will support, or maybe you can encourage future mayors to support that. We found that it's affordable and we can justify doing this. If you're able to take part in that survey, please give it to us right between the eyes, but give us thoughtful input. Solve, grow, enhance, right? It's where I started 12 years ago, or 13, I guess. The city solves problems every day. The city of Idaho Falls is growing every day. Now we can either embrace that growth and do it well, and we address it with best practices and proper planning, or we can, as some have suggested on a popular social media page, put up a sign that says, "Go back to where you came from." I can assure you that if the city were to adopt a hostile attitude toward growth and those opportunities that it brings us, we'd soon see an increase in the number of for sale signs. And, oh look, you'd have a nice housing inventory. However, we'd have no buyers. And we wouldn't show up on anybody's list of prosperous communities. Every day, city employees strive to enhance Idaho Falls, to retain that small community feeling that so many of you loved as you grew up here, or when you chose to move here. But at the same time, we want to attract the kinds of opportunities that will allow and entice not just you, but your children to live here. We have to create opportunities if your children are going to stay, or your grandchildren. A friend and a colleague mentioned or reminded me of the boomerang effect, which is the effect, right, that allows those who once left Idaho Falls to seek opportunities, see the big world, develop themselves professionally, and then be willing to return. And that's because there's now sufficient opportunity here for meaningful professional growth and development. What I love is that these returning residents are bringing back broad experiences and great ideas. The city, think about it, the city that we could build if those who've chosen to return also choose to serve and step up and lead this city. That future would be one where the city would be in super capable hands. So if you love this city, I invite you to serve it. We have elections every 2 years in odd years. We have those boards, committees, and commissions. Step up and serve. You'll grow to love the city even more. City councilors that we have, they're very dedicated. They love the city too. 5 out of 6 of them grew up right here in Idaho Falls. They're the real deal. The 6th council member, who did not grow up in Idaho Falls per se, lived in Burley or was it Buell and Twin Falls and Soda Springs. We have dedicated council members. We have talented directors, and they're guided by their professionalism. You live in a place where the citizens care. We expect a lot from ourselves here in Idaho Falls. We work together, but never forget that the plans that form the basis of our strategic plan were developed from citizen input. Citizen input matters. Citizen is such a great word. So my fellow citizens, as I say every year, and at least I've said it every year since 2017, the state of our city is strong, and Idaho Falls' future continues to be very bright. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this great community. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to serve the city that I love. I'm finally done, but we have one more thing. And so I'd like to invite Sheriff Bjorn and Leslie Pincock to come forward. We have a quick presentation. Do you need to hold your mic?
Oh, I forgot my mic. You're not saying anything. Here, let's step out front here, too.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Casper. That was wonderful. We're just wanting to take the time now to present a check to the Mayor's Scholarship Fund for the funds that were raised due to our luncheon we put together today. So,
Leslie is the, introduce Leslie.
Leslie Pincock. Pincock. That's not on my sheet. Leslie is also one that puts this together and helps us with that, and pretty much is Mayor Casper's right hand.
She's the executive director of the Mayor's Scholarship Fund.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll take
And how
it.
much?
Oh, and it is for $29,947.
Thank you.
Okay, we just want to thank everyone again for attending. I did need to mention, we want to give a thank to the city council members and the department directors for attending as well. And again, to all of you for coming here and supporting a really great cause. We hope to keep doing this every year as it continues through. So everyone, thanks. We appreciate you.